Toddler growth milestones, Year 1 to Year 2. The transition from infancy to toddlerhood marks a period of profound growth and transformation across multiple developmental domains. In this video, we will focus on the physical, cognitive, social, emotional, and linguistic milestones that typically occur during a child's second year of life. We will discuss how parents can support and nurture their toddler's development during this critical stage. A reminder to all parents: it is important to approach developmental timelines as flexible guides rather than rigid benchmarks, recognizing that each child's journey is shaped by their unique temperament, genetic predispositions, and environmental influences. These milestones are intended to provide a broad framework for understanding the remarkable progression of abilities and skills that characterize this stage of life. Variability is inherent to child development, with individual differences arising from a complex interplay of biological and experiential factors. Some children may exhibit accelerated advancements in certain areas while progressing more gradually in others. For instance, a toddler in a multilingual home may achieve physical milestones like walking earlier than peers while showing a much slower emergence of verbal communication. Or a toddler may not ever crawl at all and skip directly to eventually walking. This heterogeneity underscores the importance of adopting a holistic and individualized perspective when evaluating developmental progress. The purpose of these developmental markers is not to prescribe a universal trajectory, but to offer a high-level understanding of the dynamic processes shaping toddler growth. They equip caregivers and educators with the knowledge to recognize typical patterns while remaining vigilant for potential delays or atypical behaviors that may warrant intervention. By understanding these milestones, we can better appreciate the intricate interplay of neural, social, and environmental factors that drive early childhood development, fostering an environment that supports the unique needs and potential of every child. Through this nuanced perspective, caregivers are empowered to provide tailored support that nurtures a child's emerging abilities, ensuring a strong foundation for future learning, exploration, and social connection. Let's start with physical development from month 12 to month 15. During these months, toddlers may start to take their first steps, often with a wide-legged stance for balance and stability. Their gross motor skills improve as they begin climbing furniture and squatting to pick up objects without falling. Fine motor skills also develop significantly, enabling them to pick up small objects using a refined pincer grasp and turn the pages of a book one at a time. Neurologically, this phase is marked by increased myelination of motor pathways, enhancing coordination and balance. The cerebellum's rapid maturation supports these motor advancements. By 16 months, toddlers gain better balance and coordination, enabling them to run in short bursts and climb stairs with assistance. Fine motor skills progress as they start stacking blocks and imitating actions like brushing their hair. These improvements reflect synaptic pruning in the prefrontal cortex, optimizing neural circuits for motor control and planning. The ongoing development of sensorimotor pathways facilitates more precise hand-eye coordination. By 19 months, toddlers begin mastering actions like kicking a ball and walking backward. They also develop the ability to build taller block towers and manipulate objects like jar lids. These milestones highlight the integration of the cerebellum with cortical regions responsible for fine motor skills. Enhanced proprioception aids in their ability to control movement and balance. Just around age 2, toddlers demonstrate improved running, controlled stair climbing, and basic jumping. They also refine their ability to use utensils and draw simple shapes. These changes are linked to growth in the motor and somatosensory cortices, as well as the continued development of white matter tracts, particularly in the corticospinal pathways. Cognitive development from month 12 to month 15. As mentioned in part 2 of this series, toddlers begin to explore cause and effect relationships, such as understanding that pressing a button produces a sound. Memory also improves, enabling them to recognize familiar objects and people. These cognitive leaps are underpinned by growth in the hippocampus, which supports memory formation, and the prefrontal cortex, which governs problem solving. By month 16 to 17, toddlers start categorizing objects like animals versus vehicles and imitating household tasks like cooking. They continue to imitate adults around them. Enhanced connections between the prefrontal cortex and other brain areas support their ability to engage in goal-directed behaviors. Synaptic growth in the parietal cortex aids in spatial reasoning, which is evident in their attempts to solve basic puzzles. Around months 19 to 21, they showcase complex pretend play, such as feeding a doll or building and knocking down towers, emerges during this stage. Improved memory enables toddlers to follow simple commands and identify body parts. These advancements are tied to the maturation of the hippocampus and the default mode network, DMN, which supports imagination and memory recall. By age 2, toddlers can solve simple puzzles and understand basic time concepts like now and later. They combine multiple words to form simple phrases, reflecting enhanced connectivity, which is crucial for language processing. Cognitive flexibility begins to emerge, supported by prefrontal cortex maturation. Social and emotional development. Starting age 1, toddlers show separation anxiety and a preference for familiar people or objects. They begin mimicking gestures like waving goodbye, signaling the development of mirror neurons in the parietal and frontal lobes. These neurons are critical for imitation and empathy, foundational to social behavior. By 16 to 18 months, toddlers assert independence by frequently saying no and engage in parallel play. For example, they may not have the motor skills, yet they'll want to feed themselves. They also start showing basic empathy by comforting others. These behaviors align with growth in the anterior cingulate cortex, which processes emotions and social decision-making. As toddlers develop a sense of self, they recognize themselves in mirrors and express ownership using words like mine. This is normally visible by months 19 to 20. The prefrontal cortex continues to mature, supporting self-awareness and emotional regulation. By age 2, toddlers engage in more interactive play and show increased awareness of others' feelings. Language development 12 to 15 months. Toddlers begin using a few basic words while understanding far more. Gestures like pointing or waving accompany speech as their brain area responsible for language production becomes active. By 16 to 18 months, vocabulary expands rapidly to about 20 words, with gestures and words combined for communication. Increased neural activity supports comprehension. Around month 19 to 21, toddlers form two-word sentences, demonstrating growing connectivity between the language processing regions of the brain. This period is characterized by synaptic plasticity in the temporal lobe. By 2 years, toddlers may have a vocabulary of over 200 words and use short sentences. This linguistic explosion is driven by increased myelination in language-related neural pathways.